So I will start while we're waiting for the slides to come up. Really interesting, actually. There's two people here, or one person here particularly, who I didn't expect to see this evening, and it is a fellow cyclist of mine, Lotmar, who's sitting in the blue shirt here. And Lotmar is here because I shared the event on LinkedIn for tonight's event, as invited some of my connections, one of whom was Lotmar, and he saw the invitation and was almost at Reading on his way home and came back. So that is one of the beauties of LinkedIn, is that you can get in touch with people very, very easily and have an impact on people's lives. So that was just one little story I wanted to share with you tonight. So yes, so let me go back. Yeah, this is us, this is me. And thank you, David, for finding me and inviting me here a while ago now. It's a while ago, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, really, really happy to be here. And hello to all those people online. Can I see their chat? Or can you see the chat if they interact?
Come up here.
Okay, so you can feed that back if we need to. Brilliant, thank you. So I'm going to introduce myself first, and then I'm going to find out a little bit more about you guys. So I am a LinkedIn expert specialist. I don't know what you want to call me. I run a LinkedIn marketing agency. I used to cover all of social media until I realized not sure that I want to do that anymore, but I'm going to go into that in a moment, how I ended up in LinkedIn and why I ended up doing LinkedIn. I do stand on some quite large stages and speak. Besides that, you see little me there on that stage. It's huge. It's in Birmingham. If anybody needs an event venue, this place in Birmingham is incredible. It's a fantastic event. I also sit on panels, and I like to think I brighten things up a bit and bring a bit of colour to panels. This was the business show at the Excel a couple of years ago, and I'm also an author as of last September. My book is here. If anybody would like a copy of it, come and see me afterwards. There's also an opportunity for one person to win a copy of my book tonight. So if you turn your ears on, really listen, I'll tell you when, just for a bit of fun. Now, what I would love you to do is get your phones out and scan in this QR code, because I want to talk to you about your LinkedIn QR code. So what that will do is take you straight to my LinkedIn profile, hit follow, and then what will happen is every time I post on LinkedIn, you will start to get my posts in your feed. And I will tell you in a minute how and why you should do the same thing and share your QR code. That's my website, sarahclaysocial.com. So your LinkedIn QR code, how easy was that to find me on LinkedIn? Really easy. Yeah. So I would love you to have that knowledge to be able to do that yourself. So what you do, this is us. So what I want to do is in a second, I will show you, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before I go any further, I'm going to tell you how to do it. So go to your phones and go to your LinkedIn app on your phone. And if you go to the search bar at the top and just press in there, you will see to the right and just down a bit, a little icon, which is like 3.5 squares with a square around it. Can you see that? You press on there, that's your QR code. And you can download that to your photos. So if you're going to some kind of networking event, save that as your most recent photo. And then when you meet somebody and you say to them, shall we connect on LinkedIn? If you get your QR code out really quickly, they have to connect with you rather than you connecting with them. Why is that important? Because LinkedIn have become a bit mean. And what they've done is reduce the amount of people that you can connect with, unless you're paying for LinkedIn Premium, which I know most people aren't. So if you can get people to connect with you rather than the other way around, you're going to save your connection requests. So get your QR code at the ready, go to an event. The minute you meet somebody, go, oh, let's connect, and show them your QR code. It also makes you look really clever, right? So definitely something to do. So LinkedIn, why LinkedIn and not any of the other platforms? So who here uses Facebook to get business? Hands went up and then they came down. But there's one at the back. Brilliant. Okay, that's great. So I did a little bit of research and asked onto Google and ChatGPT and various people what these platforms were for, and Facebook came up with family updates, local news and group activities, which is great. And actually I think Facebook is good for business if you're a local business, because it's good for finding local people. You can also find them on LinkedIn as well, but I think Facebook is pretty good for that. Does anybody use this one? No, nobody does, because it's pretty toxic, right? We don't like it. Anybody use TikTok for getting business? Ah, brilliant. No, not business, for fun. Do you get business from TikTok?
Well, I've got like a side project. So my kind of LinkedIn is consultant, whereas my other socials are like my coaching, and I'm trying to brand around that. So it's a bit disjointed.
Okay, no, I like that. That's quite good. It's good to have a delineation of some there and some there.
Yeah. So TikTok, Insta, Facebook, they're like my other persona. It's a bit, but yeah, we can catch up on that.
Oh, that sounds like you have an interesting time. Yes, dance videos, songs, cute animal videos. TikTok has come a long way since the dance videos, and actually for business, it can be a good place. Can be a good place to be. It's hard work though. It really is hard work. YouTube. This is a brilliant platform for video. So if you're making videos, get them on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn, but definitely do that. But if you're not comfortable with video, you don't want to use video as part of your content strategy, then obviously YouTube is not going to help you at all. And then of course we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional platform. That's what it's billed as, that's what it's known as. And I think that's why we love it. And there's lots and lots of other reasons why I love LinkedIn, which obviously I shall be going into. So this is why I love LinkedIn. So I'm now going to ask you guys, on a scale of 1 to 5, okay, where 1 is you just got a profile and that's it on LinkedIn, and 5 is actually you're getting business and you're doing pretty well. Probably none of you are a 5, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. Where would you say you're sitting? So are there any 1s in the room? Are there any 1s online? Hello, online people. Don't forget you. Are there any 1s who really, okay, so Facebook lady. So you're at 1. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. So have you got a LinkedIn profile? No, haven't got a profile. Okay, that's good to know. Any 2s in the room where you're sort of using it a bit, but you don't really know why? David, okay, a few of you. 3s, you're posting, yeah, and you're using it quite okay, and you may get a bit of business interest from it. Any 4s where you're quite comfortable and you're posting quite a lot? Great, okay, so quite a broad range of skills here. What have we got on the online?
Probably more 2s and then some 3s.
Okay, 2s and 3s. 2s, 3s got, okay, I will try and take that into consideration. So what is it that stops you? What is it that stops you being more comfortable on LinkedIn or using it more? Anybody want to just throw some words out? Yes.
So I remember saying to someone who does social media, if I've done something for someone and it's good, they know it and I know it, why do I need to tell anyone else? And she said, if you don't explain how you can add value, how's anyone going to know? So that's the reason why I've started. But that's the reason why, but that's what I would say is it's difficult to say things that are good about yourself or promote yourself when that's not your natural way of working or being.
Absolutely, and that's brilliant actually, because as project managers, you guys tend to be behind the scenes a bit, right? You're not out there client facing necessarily, out talking to people. Some are. But yeah, that's a really valid point, actually. You know that now you need to get that message out, but you need to work out how. Yeah. Anybody else got any?
Yes, I find that there's an enormous amount of chit chat. People saying, "Oh yes, I agree," and other useless information. So I tend to just steer away from it.
So lots of chit chat. Yeah, no, I get that. So the more you're on LinkedIn, because there's this thing called the algorithm, but there's actually loads of algorithms, but we call it the algorithm. And what the algorithm does is it reads how you behave on LinkedIn. So a very simple explanation is if you spend all day scrolling cat videos, it's going to put more cat videos in your feed.
Cool.
So if you try to steer away from the chit chat and connect with people and content that you genuinely find interesting over time, and it will take time, the algorithm will read that, and your feed will start to get better and you'll enjoy the whole experience much more.
I always feel under pressure to post something. So I don't have a grand plan, knowing that, this week I'm going to be posting stuff about this subject, next week it'll be about something else. I feel very self-conscious that if a few days go by without posting, I'm missing out on something here, because I need to have some sort of visibility, because then that's where the next role could come from. The next job, it's happened before. So I kind of, in a sense, make a sort of a mental rod for my own back.
Yeah, no, I know. Posting pressure is the thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So posting pressure is what to post about. No idea. I haven't posted for ages. I need to post. Oh, I'll just put anything out quickly. And actually, Tony and I met earlier in the cafe, and Tony said everything we do is a content opportunity, which is kind of true. And it is about visibility. It is about getting out there. And I will talk about how the algorithm has shifted lately in June this year. June, July, we saw big shifts in the algorithm, which indicate we should all change our behavior slightly on LinkedIn. Less posting. Good, which is good news. Yes.
I find the algorithm does work to a certain point, but then you would then serve up loads of like AI sludge based on the content that you do like. It's obvious that people are just going to ChatGPT, create a post for me based on these facts and put it out, and it's becoming more and more obvious, and then it's just reposting of that.
Sorry.
Like, well, what's genuine, what's not genuine? So would your post that is genuine, you spent hours crafting or thinking about, then just get completely ignored, like, well, it's all just AI sludge.
AI sludge. I haven't heard that before. I like it. Yes, there is increasing the amount of AI sludge on LinkedIn. And again, it's just a case of trying to scroll past it as quickly as you can. At the moment, we don't know what else to do about it. And we're hoping that LinkedIn is going to start taking action and hopefully shadow banning people who use AI sludge. Good phrase, thank you. But we don't know yet. But yeah, it is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking for a role and I went on to training for LinkedIn, and they just coached me into making sure I had an all-star profile, which sounds probably more fancy than it was, which is just completing my profile, having a photo and a bio. And then out of the blue, somebody said, "Oh, your profile looks quite relevant. Could we add you to our database?" And so I said, "Fine, yeah, no problem." And then probably like 4 to 6 weeks later, another MD from the same firm contacted me, said, "Oh, I think I've got a role that, you'd be perfect for." And then obviously, got that job through just the power of LinkedIn. And it blew my mind because I hadn't applied for it, the traditional CV approach. So yeah, whatever. And this was going back to 2018. So it's quite a while ago now.
That's
But
brilliant.
powerful.
It really is powerful. And actually, I'm not particularly covering this tonight, but I will touch on this because when I teach the students at the University of Westminster, I talk to them about the hidden job market. So 80% of jobs are not advertised. So what you need to do is get into the companies and get known before they actually start looking for jobs, because then you're already front of mind, as you were. And filling out your profile, which I will be covering this evening, is a really key part of that. So yeah, that's fantastic. Well done. Any exciting or interesting comments from the online audience?
David has been very actively going along and agreeing with most of what you're saying, and he certainly buys into the algorithm concept. Somebody else was saying that it was really useful for looking for new jobs.
Brilliant. Yeah, great. Excellent. All right. So 2025, we are now in, and LinkedIn is a very, very different place from where it was a couple of years ago, and it's changing all the time, and it's getting more friendly, it's getting easier to use, but it is also becoming dredged with AI sludge and other stuff. So why should we use it? I'm just going to share some stats with you. Your project managers, hopefully you like a stat or two. That was the idea. 1.2 billion personal profiles now on LinkedIn. It's huge. It really is huge. So you will end up in the wrong lane if you're not careful, and you will end up in the wrong room at the party, which is what I call LinkedIn a party. And if you're in the wrong room, yeah, you're going to have a rubbish time. So it's about finding the right room, finding the right people, and hanging out with those people, so that your experience of LinkedIn is not only a bit more enjoyable, but it's also more fruitful for you. There were 1.7 billion visits to the site in February, our shortest month, 2025. It's, people tend to be at the higher income bracket, people using LinkedIn. B2B marketers, we love LinkedIn. We absolutely do. And we use it. We do use it for lead generation, and we use it for lead generation for our clients because we know it works. And 62% of B2B marketing people say it does produce leads and it does work. So hopefully that is enough to get you thinking that it will work for you. So who is using LinkedIn? One of the questions I wanted to also ask you is, who are your clients? Who are you looking for? Anybody want to share who they're looking for on LinkedIn? What kind of people?
Oh yeah, IT directors.
IT directors. Okay, they're easy to find. Very easy to find on LinkedIn. Yeah. Anybody else? IT directors. Well, let's stick with them then. They're definitely there, because who isn't? LinkedIn. All kinds of people are on LinkedIn. Education is probably the one sector that's taking longer to embrace LinkedIn, but all kinds of industries are there. And actually, I think it is easier to say who isn't using LinkedIn now. And one of my clients notably said, if you're not on LinkedIn, you don't exist. As a cyclist, I would say if you're not on Strava, it didn't happen. Similar kind of thing. But so there we go. Right, I want to talk about currency, and this is the award-winning prize is coming here. So 4 currencies here. So the first one, top left, we know that one, right? Second one, anybody know that second one?
Australian dollar.
Australian dollar, well done. What about this one?
Yuan.
Oh, well done. Well, okay, this is the prize. You get a book if you can tell me the name and country, which is probably on the thing.
Malaysian ringgit.
I'll sign it for you later, but there you go. Well done. The Malaysian ringgit. There we go. Well done. So currency. There's so many, aren't there? But there's another currency that isn't money. Anybody think what it might be? What that nearly? What that
Trust.
Yes, who said that? Well done, trust. So I work on a process of trust, because if nobody trusts us, they're not going to buy from us, they're not going to interact with us, they're not going to transact with us. So it's so important that we create trust with our audience on LinkedIn. Okay. Does anybody here know the Edelman Trust Report that comes out every year? It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. So according to the Edelman Report, they do big research every year. Trust is the currency of consumer power. And if you want to tap into that consumer power, you need to get people to trust you. Okay. 88% people say that trust is as important as price and quality. That's huge. And it's growing. People need that trust more and more. And I think this is partly because we live in such an online world and we don't meet people face to face. We need to develop these relationships with people. So how do you do it? How do you show 1.2 billion people on an online platform where you're not going to meet them, that they can trust you? So I've got a 5-step process, of course, 5 steps. Find your tribe. T for trust. Okay. Spoiler alert, LinkedIn isn't social media. I don't see LinkedIn as social media. So if it isn't social media, what is it? It's this. It's networking. It's growing your network. And what's brilliant on LinkedIn is you connect to one person and they can connect you to, let's say, 3 more people. And if each of those 3 people can connect you to 3 more people, just imagine how big your network will grow in time. But not only how it will grow, but that it will grow in a relevant way. Because what you're doing is building on people that you want to know and that you want in your network. You're not going to accept connection requests from random people who will never, ever want your services. You don't need to do that. By finding your initial tribe in the first place and growing out from there, your network will all be relevant and you will stop seeing content and nonsense that you don't want to see. Okay. Again, it takes time. LinkedIn isn't a fast, super speedy platform, but this is how it works because this is networking. Would you ask somebody to marry you on a first date? Anybody here done that? Thinking about doing that? No, you wouldn't. I think my dad asked my mum on their 3rd date and they were married for a very long time, but that was quite risky. She was quite an adventurous woman, so she took the risk. But generally, if you're going to expect somebody to invest in you, you've got to build that trust, okay? So start with people you know. It's really the easiest way, but it's also the most effective way. So start connecting and talking to people on LinkedIn that you know. So you can start talking to your clients, previous clients, suppliers, potential collaborators, fellow project managers. And that's an easy start for you guys. And it also will ensure that your network grows in the way that you want it to grow. And it will give you some focus, okay? So the first thing I want you to do tomorrow is think of all the people that you know who may or may not be on LinkedIn, search for them and send them a connection request and start building your tribe on LinkedIn. So project managers, time is something very, very valuable to you guys, isn't it? And I'm guessing you're pretty good at juggling time and working out time. If you go to a networking meeting and you walk in, let's say, does anybody here know the Institute of Directors, the IOD? That big room at the top upstairs that looks across the Pall Mall, I think, isn't it? Walk in there and it's full of people. Brilliant networking, all your ideal audience. You've got 2 hours to go and spend as much time as you can connecting with people. What are you going to do? Come out with what, 5 valuable connections, maybe, in your 2 hours? If you've got a team of people and you say take 2 of them with you, you could come out with 15 valuable connections, right? So safety in numbers, growth in numbers. So what I would advise you to do if you have got teams is to use them as well and get them to start using LinkedIn effectively. And this is what my book is all about. It's all about employee advocacy, which is basically getting people on to LinkedIn. There you go. This is what employee advocacy is. So it's when you can get your employees, your teams, your colleagues talking about your company or what you do to drive more brand awareness and new business. So do any of you work in teams? Do you have teams, or are you all kind of solo, working on your own? You're all mostly solo. Okay, but if you have a team, if you're employed by a company and you're part of a team, try and encourage them to use LinkedIn as well. It's really valuable. So that's my book. So what's the R? Build your reputation. And this is what this lady here was alluding to, I think, wasn't it? You was talking about how you need to start getting out there and telling people how good you are. So when you're building your reputation, what I'm talking about here is creating content, okay? When you start, you've got a really small audience on LinkedIn. You might have 10 or 15 or 30 followers and connections. Start small, that's fine, because it grows. It really does grow exponentially on top and on top and on top. So what kind of things can you talk about so that you're not getting post paranoia? What's happening here? Who's got little kids, or has had little kids who are now bigger? What do you do to them at night before they go to bed? Tell them a story. People love stories. Really, really love stories. And if we read a story, we're much more likely to remember it than it's just a list of things. Actually, your project managers might not be the case, but people really want to know your story. What brought you to be a project manager? How are you here? Who have you been working with lately? What are you up to? Where have you been? What are you doing? All of those things, people absolutely love them. And they might seem to you as, oh, no one's really interested in that I'm coming to a talk at, at the British Computer Society. Nobody really cares. They do. They genuinely do care. They do want to know. They find all this stuff really interesting. So talk about it. Help people. So somebody said to me this evening, what we do isn't very glamorous. Well, no, maybe it's not. But it's useful. It's really, really useful. Do I know a business that couldn't use some help from project managers? No, I definitely need some help in mine. So if you talk about how you can help people, what do you do that helps other people? So you may think that writing a spreadsheet is really dull, okay? But I hate writing. Actually, I'm not great at writing spreadsheets. It takes me ages. If I had somebody who said, I can create you a spreadsheet, or this is how to create a really easy spreadsheet, I'd love you. I'd be like, yes, please, I want to know that. So think of the problems that you solve when you go into work and talk about them. Share them and tell people how to do things that you can do that they can't. Because that way you're going to pitch yourself as an expert. You're going to pitch yourself as somebody who's really helpful and kind. And people are going to get in touch with you and say, oh, can you help me with that? Answer questions. So when you're working or when somebody hires you, they ask you questions. How do you work? How much do you charge? How long will this take? Use your content to answer the questions that you're going to get asked before you get asked, and they'll think, oh my gosh, this person really understands who I am. So I had a friend a while ago, and she had these really cool jeans on. And I said, Debbie, I love those jeans. Where are they from? She goes, oh, they're Hyatt, Darren. Hyatt jeans. She goes, and I love them because I've got a really funny body shape and they're the jeans that fit me. So they solved her direct problem. So if you can solve somebody's direct problem, tell them how you're going to do it, you're already building that trust. Okay? Are you all with me so far?
Yeah.
Great, good. Understand your people. If you don't understand your audience, how can you communicate with them? How can you tell them how brilliant you are? How can you help them? Now, I have no idea what this guy is. Anybody? I really don't know. I don't know how big he is. I don't know he, she, it. I don't know if he sits around my finger or around my arm. I don't know how big that pole is. No idea. So if that was a person and I didn't know about them, what would I do? I'd ask. Yeah. So on LinkedIn, we can do that. We can ask people, we can directly communicate with people. And that's why I love LinkedIn, because people expect us to. They expect us to message them and contact them and ask them questions. And it's fine to do that. Yeah, it seems scary, but it's absolutely fine to do that. So you can go and research people in a library. You can Google or chat GPT and find out information. But the best way to ask somebody is to get in there and find out who they are, what they're doing. So if you're following on LinkedIn a whole load of people who are your ideal clients, you're reading their content, you're reading what they're posting about, you're going to start to really understand who they are, what their problems are, what they need, and how they need you. So spending time on LinkedIn, looking at people's profiles, looking at people's content is really, really useful. And then start talking to them, sending them messages. It's fine to do that on LinkedIn. It's expected that people will get messages on LinkedIn. So you can find out all kinds of stuff. You can find out information on your clients. And actually, I asked David to tell me what specific problems, the things that you might want to talk about. And these are his words, okay? So there you go. So you can find out information on clients, potential collaborators and suppliers, and any other parties of interest, whoever they may be. And you can ask them and find out what drives them, what are their pain points, so that then you can respond accordingly in your content, in your messaging. And actually, not only just in your content on LinkedIn, but also in your business, in the way you work. So let's say suddenly everybody's talking about this new piece of software and they have no idea why it does this and how it works. Then maybe there's an opportunity for you guys to research that piece of software and start talking about it on LinkedIn. And people go, oh, this person knows, brilliant, I want to talk to them. So find out, use LinkedIn as a search tool, as well as going out and talking to people. Don't sell, shake hands. Who here, and actually online as well, who here gets DMs from people selling them stuff? Yes, we all do. I got one yesterday. Would I like a LinkedIn profile review? I thought it was quite rude, actually. Oh, no, thank you very much. Don't sell on LinkedIn. We don't do selling. So who knows who this is? Del Boy and Wolfie. They are not welcome on LinkedIn. We do not want to use Wolfie and Del Boy tactics on LinkedIn because it just frightens people away. Nobody likes being sold to, but boy, we love to buy, right? We all love to buy. But we don't want people spamming us and selling us stuff, because LinkedIn isn't about that. LinkedIn's about this. It's about building relationships. It's about getting to know people, getting to know their needs and their wants and their requirements. By the way, there will be lots of time at the end to ask questions, so don't worry about that. Because you need to build relationships. You can't build business unless you have relationships with other people. Okay, it's the gold. I love LinkedIn. One of the things I absolutely love about LinkedIn is how you can interact with people on there and how it's expected and how it works and how you meet people on LinkedIn. So the algorithm changes in June this year really shifted things. So everybody I know who posts regularly on LinkedIn noticed a massive, massive drop in the reach of their posts. It was almost catastrophic. Everybody went from thousands and thousands to hundreds. of impressions and reach on their posts. It was so obvious and tangible that people were talking about it in rooms and messaging and everything. And we were all really startled and didn't really know what was going on. Coupled with that, LinkedIn then introduced the ability to see the analytics on our comments. So we can see how many people have read the comments that we put on other people's posts. Ding, alarm bells. We're all going, oh, wow, this is exciting. What's going on? So I'm there chatting away with my other LinkedIn nerdy people. And what we have realized, and subsequent conversations with LinkedIn, is that they want us to post less, but engage more with other people. So they don't want us to be posting every day because there's 1.2 billion people there. It's too many, there's too much, and there's too much nonsense, there's too much AI sludge. I love that phrase. I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to adopt that. Is that all right? Thank you. There is a lot of AI sludge on there, but what LinkedIn want us to do is actually go and talk to people and interact. So commenting on other people's posts is what they want us to do much, much more of, okay? And if when LinkedIn introduce something new, jump on it quickly because they want to see if it's working. So they want people to use it and do it, and they will promote you for doing it, okay? So when polls first came into being and people were doing polls on LinkedIn, it was a new toy. So everybody jumped on it, but LinkedIn wanted us to jump on it, and they were pushing our polls out all over the place. They were getting crazy engagement until it all got a bit oversaturated. So the other thing about commenting on posts on LinkedIn, I'm going to take you back to the IOD. You've walked in to the IOD and you're in there in this big networking room with loads and loads of people. What do you do when you walk in? If you're like me, you'll walk in and you go, do I see anybody I know? Yes. So you'll go over and you'll chat to the person that you know, and they will start introducing you to people. And that's what I was talking about earlier about your connections growing and growing. What you wouldn't do, I would like to think, is go stand by the coffee machine. I'm a project manager. I'm really good at what I do. I make the best spreadsheets and I'm really good at time management and I work with companies in the education sector. You wouldn't just do that. You'd go into conversations. You'd shake hands with people and say, hello, what do you do? I do this. And then when you're in a group of people, if somebody says something quite interesting, what would you do? If you've got a thought about what they're saying, you know what they're talking about, would you just do this? No. So why do we do it on LinkedIn? Why do we scroll through LinkedIn going, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up, thumb up? What's the point, right? So treating LinkedIn as if it's a real life situation is A, going to get rid of a whole lot of nonsense and scary stuff that I know you're all feeling, but also that's what we're supposed to be doing there, okay? So this is going back to the algorithm discussion. I gave a talk to a load of people in finance about 6 weeks ago, breakfast talk. And afterwards, one of the guys in the audience went off and he posted this and he tagged me in. So he spent 30 minutes drafting what he thought was a killer post. And it got 4,000 impressions. Now, 4,000 impressions to you guys might seem a heck of a lot, but to him it wasn't, because he was quite a whiz on LinkedIn. He was used to 10, 12, 20,000 impressions on his posts, okay? Not great, you can see from his emoji. So then he just posted 3 throwaway comments, which I looked at and they weren't that throwaway, but anyway, on other people's feeds, and they got a total of 60,000 impressions. An impression, by the way, is how many feeds that comment has gotten through. Doesn't mean to say the people people have read it or stopped and looked at it, but it's definitely been in those people's feeds. That's crazy. Now, his comments, yes, they were throwaway to him, but actually they were quite valuable comments. But this really highlights how important commenting strategy is. Okay. So, who's scared of commenting on posts on LinkedIn? I bet you are. I am. Or who sits there going, what am I going to say? Oh, I'm not going to say anything because I don't know what to say. Or nobody's interested. I'm not going to say, I'm just going to hide. These are the three things I hear the most why people don't comment on posts on LinkedIn. This is what I'm talking about. Put yourself in a real life situation and think, what would I say? So that post is somebody standing right in front of you and saying whatever it is. Your comment needs to be a conversational comment. And I'm going to give you a framework to help you. The 4 C's of commenting on posts on LinkedIn. Start with a compliment. So if you're in a conversation with somebody and they've said something, you might say, oh, that was interesting. Or I like your point. There's a but coming, right? Or congratulations. Whatever it is, just a little 1 word, 2, 3 words. And then comment with value. So talk about what you know. Say, in my experience, this has happened. Or anything that you know, not showing off, not bragging, but just something to add to the conversation. Because what you want is a conversation in that person's comment in their feed. Because that's where the gold is in LinkedIn right now. It might not be like this in 6 months' time, but it is now. So capitalize on this. And then if you're not connected to that person, go and send them a connection request. Just hit connect. You don't really need to add a note because they already know who you are. So you can save your notes. If you want to add a note, yes, if you've got enough left, because LinkedIn are a bit mean with them, as I was saying earlier. But don't just connect with the person who's posted it, connect with the other people in the conversation as well, because other people will start to join in those conversations. So don't sell, shake hands, join conversations. And finally, this is what we forget to do on LinkedIn. I do anyway. Tell people what you do. Just tell them. Tell them what it is. So this is your profile. Okay. So state very, very clearly the problems that your clients have. Because by stating those problems, you're going to come up in searches, and I shall go into that in a second, and you're going to get people to really resonate with what you're saying. Tell people who you serve. So if you work in the education sector, say that you work in the education sector. If you work in aerospace, tell people you work in aerospace. Because if you work in education, you don't want aerospace people getting in touch because that's not your field. That's not where you are. Stick with your lane and make it really, really clear. And then you'll get the right people in your feed. You'll get the right people connecting with you. Come in, just take a seat. Show your worth. Tell people how good you are. So you don't have to do that. You can get other people to do that. Who here has ever asked anybody for a recommendation on LinkedIn? Yes, yes, hooray. They're absolutely brilliant. Whenever you finish a job, a contract, use LinkedIn and get a proper recommendation because they are 100% true. They can't be copy pasted. They have to be genuine. So ask people for recommendations, okay? Show your worth. And then you can use those recommendations as you're building your profile. You can use them in posts, definitely. Help people get to know you. Anybody here use video? No. Okay, don't do video. If you're not comfortable doing video, don't do video. It is a really good way to help people connect with you. But if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. But just go out and talk to people, help them get to know who you are. Tell them who you are in your profile. Give them something a little bit personal. Everybody's going, oh, I don't want to do that. But something little about you that nobody else knows that's not to do with work at all. And I'll show you mine in a minute. It's one word. And tell your story, because people love a story. When you're at that networking event, you whipped out your phone, you've given them your QR code and they've gone to your profile. It's your shop window and you don't want it to look closed or abandoned, okay? You want it to look like an active shop that's selling, that's out there talking to people, okay? And we're not talking Primark here, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking Gucci. So let people see your lovely, beautiful Guccified profile that really clearly shows people what you sell. It's so clear. And that car, to me, is like somebody scrolling through LinkedIn really fast. If it's not there and really, really clear, I'm going to see it. Okay. So show people what it is that you do really, really clearly. So going through the bits of your profile. So your profile photo, does that look like me? Who here who had seen my LinkedIn profile saw me and recognized me? Exactly. And that's what you should all do. Your LinkedIn profile should be that initial, I know that person, I recognize that person, because that builds trust. Because when people recognize you, when they meet you, they think they know you already. Has anybody here met anybody famous and gone to talk to them because they thought they knew them? Am I the only idiot? Yeah, I did it. Mo Molam. Anybody remember her? Yeah, I just viewed her house because she was in Islington at the time, and we looked at her house for sale. We didn't buy it, so I felt really close to her. I've been in her house. I've seen all these photos of her family, and then a couple of days later, she gets out of her car. Says, "Excuse me, love. Do you think you could help me reverse around this corner?" Oh, how are you? Yeah, but I felt like I knew her, because I'd been in her house, I recognised her from the TV, and this is, we're going back some. That's what you want. You want people to feel that they know you before they've even met you, because that's where the trust starts. Your banner, it's huge. It's a huge visual aid. And I can help you if you want to direct message me, I can help you what kind of stuff to put on there, but tell people what you do. That's all you need to do. You could put a nice photo on there and then maybe put some text over the top and tell them what you do. Needs to be clear, needs to be brightish. Doesn't have to be quite as bright as mine, but you want to stand out, okay? And this bit's really important. This is your headline. Goes everywhere you go on LinkedIn, so the first third of it. So when you see somebody's on LinkedIn, they've commented, they've posted, the first third of that headline will show. So make it really clear exactly what you do and who you serve in that beginning bit, okay? And here's the personal bit, look. Cyclist. I got a really big client because of that one word. They connected with me, this woman, big firm, and said, "Oh, I see you're a cyclist." I said, "Oh, yeah, what have you done?" We got chatting. And then 6 months later, she comes back, says, "Can you talk to us about LinkedIn?" It works. It really, really works. I don't put my kids on LinkedIn, don't put my family on there, but some personal stuff is really, really important. Your about section. Anybody know how many characters you've got there? 2,600. That's a lot. You can say a lot in that section, okay? Tell people who you are and what you do. Elaborate on your story. And those first 3 lines that people see, really, really key. And then you've got the see more. Something like 98% of people don't even click through to that see more bit, but you still need to fill it in because it counts as keywords. And LinkedIn, Google, ChatGPT, the AI search at the top of Google, they're all scraping LinkedIn. They're all scraping your online presence. So the more keywords and key phrases you can put in your profile, stuff them in somewhere, but in conversational language, the more you're going to come up in those searches in AI and Google. In fact, my blog is going out on Thursday, all about it. And I just posted a video on YouTube, all about SEO, GEO, IEO and EIEIO. That was just a little bit of a fun. Anyway, services. Services section is really weird. I don't really know why it's there. It's a bit daft, but again, fill it in, put all the bits in because these are your keywords. And your experience section. So this is all the jobs that you've had. And you can really play around with this. You can put really nice images in there. These are links to blogs and my YouTube channel and various other links, but the pictures come up and it just looks quite striking when you see it. And the longer you can keep people on your profile, the algorithm loves it. It's called dwell time. Loads of people are spending ages on this person's profile. We should push it out more. So when somebody searches project manager on LinkedIn, your profile is going to come higher if you've got a fully completed profile. Somebody was talking about an all-star profile. LinkedIn love that. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So when LinkedIn, they'll give you an all-star profile if they're happy with you and if they like you. And if you can keep LinkedIn happy, it's going to help you. It really is. It does work. I know it sounds weird, but it works. All these other sections as well. Education section. Your alumni find you on LinkedIn because LinkedIn connects you all. Say, oh, you might want to connect with this person because you went to the same university. And it's a really good opening way to connect with somebody. So if I see somebody that went to Northumbria University or York University, both of which I went to, I can go to them and I can say, hey, we both went to Northumbria University. You probably went a few years after me, but hey, it doesn't really matter. And, you know, is so-and-so still a lecturer there? You know, it's a really easy way to start a conversation with somebody. Volunteering. This is brilliant. So you can see I volunteered for Macmillan and for a charity called 1001 Fontaine, which is a very small charity. But look how I've managed to link my profile to their company page. Backlinking. It's brilliant for building your visibility. And then your skills. These are your keywords. Fill in your skills. Here's a tip. When you're on your skills section and you're putting your skills in and it says, where did you get this skill? Don't worry about that. Just don't worry about it. Don't waste your time with that. Just make sure the skills are there, okay? Because they're your keywords. So fill your profile in. It really, really works, as the gentleman at the back said. And it's not a CV. Use conversational language. Think of it more like an interview rather than a CV. So there we are. 5-step trust formula. Hopefully it will help you remember because I've got it in the 5 steps. What I've got here, that's the QR code to my profile, and that's the QR code for my newsletter on LinkedIn. If you want to be subscribed to my newsletter on LinkedIn, which comes out very spasmodically once every few months, you can scan that and I have actually got a newsletter coming out on Thursday if you want to read it. Any questions? Yes.
So, as I have people in my network who are posting, sometimes they may be posting 2 or 3 times and they all come in at once. And as much as I really love them, I don't want to comment on all of them. So I try and just do the 1 or the 2, but you keep seeing those. And I know you said if you can almost train LinkedIn not to show them to you, but how is it that you will see the same thing maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, the same post again? Because it seems that has changed from what it was like before.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant point. So what the lady's saying is that she's seeing the same posts reappear. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. I wish I did. I really do wish I did. So I'm finding the same thing. So you'll see somebody's post in your feed and you go, oh, that was posted weeks ago. Why is this hanging around in my feed? What tends to happen is when LinkedIn start building new things and bringing new things in, switching things around, other things start to sort of drop a bit by the wayside. And I think that's one of the things that's not working out well. But as for seeing content in your feed, lots of content from the same people, no, if you don't, I agree, you don't want to be commenting on the same people's posts all the time. I completely agree. And as your network grows, you'll see less of that those people's content because it will be more diluted with other people's. So yeah, every now and again, definitely, but not necessarily every time, for sure.
Building on that point, I experienced the same fatigue, I would call it, on LinkedIn, so sort of repetition, but there is a setting where you can change it to most recent just to fit, which actually has solved a lot of that problem.
That's
So
true, actually, good point.
that as far as once you get to one, as Facebook used to be, as Instagram used to be, you get to the stage where, oh, I remember seeing that one, so everything after that is old, so I don't need to scroll back down. That I found that is actually really helpful.
Yes, thank you. Good point, actually. So you can change how you view your feed from most relevant to most recent. It will always default back to most relevant. So you have to every time you go to LinkedIn. But yes, that's a
Sorry, I this really stressed me out, or not stressed me out, but it was just getting quite annoying. But there is a permanent way to do that. I can't remember it.
Oh my word, you're telling me what a great, I love this.
Well, you know better than me, but I've certainly experienced that since I've changed that setting. Unfortunately, I can't remember.
So it'll be, yeah, it must be in the actual settings rather than when you go to your
Yes,
feed.
exactly. Yeah, because I kept doing that. But you can do it at the top, but actually, if you go sort of into the back end, you can make the sort of permanent change. But I guess there's definitely a counter argument so that we might not.
No, I think if so, everybody uses LinkedIn differently, and I think that's there are definitely right and wrong ways that we should be using LinkedIn. But if something's really annoying you need to change it, then absolutely do that. So does anybody here go into their settings ever and have a look and change them?
Yeah.
Because they do throw new things in. They have thrown a few new things into settings recently, so it's definitely worth having a look. Thank you for that.
I just recently went to Canva World Tour, and LinkedIn was one of the partners as well. So the lead strategist said they are working on the algorithm, and for the AI, the sludge thing, they are like trying to put a new feature like Facebook made with AI option. So hopefully it will be coming to life. So,
Okay. Oh, I'm glad I came tonight.
and just graduated from University of Westminster as well.
Did you ever come to any of my talks?
I did business information systems and a BCS student member as well. So
I'm giving a talk on tomorrow, actually, an online talk, which you may get invited to. I don't know, but yeah. Oh, great university.
So, I think you answered this before, but I just wanted to check. I've had God knows how many conversations on this subject, and it's about what happens when you get connection requests from people you don't know. Because I'm sure everyone else does get them all the time. But you see, it's this debate about, do you just treat every connection request as worth accepting and holding on to because you never know what might happen, or alternatively, you treat your connection set almost like a Rolodex. So by definition, if they're in the Rolodex, they're people you've worked with or you have some interest in. And for me, the latter seems better. But I've had people say to me, no, you've every time you get a connection request from somebody, accept it because it's all part of a network. Somebody might find you via this channel. And I have so many connections with people I've never met, I've never worked with, and frankly, I probably wouldn't even want to meet anyway. But you just have to hold onto these connections because who knows what might happen. Am I getting this wrong?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And this is what I'm talking about growing your network in a relevant way. And it's like, if you go to, let's go back to the IOD, and you're in that big networking room, you meet somebody who there's absolutely no way that you can ever envisage that they would be able to connect you to anybody relevant, or that they would ever need your services. Don't waste your time. Move on. And I think it sounds cruel, it sounds harsh, but actually we've got very busy lives. You've got a lot of people that could benefit from you, and you benefit from them as well. It's a mutual process. Focus on those for sure. On the other note, if your feed is really full of stuff that you don't want, then it's worth going through your connections and getting rid of some. And if it's fine and you're okay with it, I just leave them. I wouldn't waste your time. But if you really, really want to shift your feed and you're seeing a lot of content, let's say you used to work in a certain industry and now you work in a different one, and you're seeing all content relating to the old industry, you might want to start losing those connections. And they don't know. You know, when you unconnect from somebody, I think that's the correct word. They don't know that you've done it until they go to your profile and see that they're not connected to you. And then you can go, oh, terribly sorry, I don't know what happened there. So, yeah.
We had a question a bit earlier from Marty, who was interested in what advice you could give to new graduates, because new graduates typically don't have the track record and the connections and the stories to tell and the expertise. Maybe not relevant to most people in this room, but in this case, Marty is concerned about his kids or her kids, I can't tell.
Right, okay, so new graduates, or even somebody who's starting out brand new on LinkedIn, it's finding a tribe, I would say, is the most important thing. So get yourself a profile that says as much about you as possible. Camera's there, isn't it? Is that
Yes.
Yes. So get yourself a profile that tells as much about you as possible and following the things that I've mentioned, but start with people you know. So start with your university lecturers. You can use the search option, which I haven't really focused on this evening, but use the search option to find people who went to your university, to find your alumni and connect with them. And especially if they studied the same subject as you, because they might be able to help you in your career progression. So that's what I would say, that's how to start. And for anybody who's starting out on LinkedIn, start with people you know, 100%, because that's a nice place and it's a relevant place for you. Have you got any more questions, Phil?
Well, there was, that's Martin. Sorry. Martin's got a follow-up, which is looking further about the hidden job market you described earlier, and I think you'd like to know how to find it.
Well, you can't find the hidden job market, but what you can do is get yourself up in front of people before those jobs are, you know, before they're advertised. So connecting with, and this actually applies to everybody here, so finding the people that you really want. Who are your 10 goals? Who are your 10 people that you really, really want to work with? Which companies do you really want to go into and help and work with? So finding those, finding the relevant people within those companies and connecting with them, and start to build a relationship with them. And who knows, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years time, they may have a job, or they may not have a job, but they may think, this person, I really like this person, let's create a job for them. So it's about building those relationships so that when they are hiring, you're there, you're front of mind. Yes.
Have you got any advice on promoting a business page over an individual's page?
Yes. All in there. So business pages are hard, they're tough. They don't get the reach that personal profiles do. I would say it depends on your time. I think a business page, even for an entrepreneur, a single owner managed business, is still good to have, because it's another way to get eyes on your content. You can post the same content on both as a strategy, but you don't want to be posting at the same time. So if you post on your personal profile, you can either create that post completely fresh on your company page a few days later, or you can repost it onto your company page, depending on your time, really. I do think it's a good idea to have them. And as I say, they're not actually that difficult to run. Your main activity will be on your personal profile, but having a company page in the background is also a good idea if you've got the capacity to do that. What I don't want people to do is set up a company page and spend ages on there at the loss of the engagement and the content on the personal profile. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions? Yes.
So is this a way to build, we see offering services and value to others to get clients, customers, but so also inadvertently creating a personal brand for you, which is obviously, I think you alluded to it earlier.
It's exactly.
Big thing.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's creating you as a personal brand. And so I don't always like to use that phrase because people go, yeah, you know, I'm not an influencer. But actually, it is what you're doing. You're creating your own personal brand, but your brand is you. and you know, your brand is you, your brand is you, we're all different. And what's important is to be, I love the word congruent, is to just be yourself at all times and just be that same person on LinkedIn. If you're on Instagram, the same person on Instagram, and obviously the same person in real life. And that's exactly what it is creating that brand. Yeah.
And just to follow up, so I heard, I don't know if it's true, but somebody mentioned that in China, for example, like your brand, your social currency has value, like what you put out there on, I don't know what networks they would have, but is it something that you come across, like, you know, are you creating your own social value and therefore raising your personal currency with your brand?
Yes, I see what you're saying, definitely. So I think what you're alluding to is if you can building your brand, you can elevate your status, you can elevate your knowledge, and actually you can elevate your pricing. So if you've got a really solid brand, if you've got a really solid presence on LinkedIn and you're sharing your knowledge, you actually can, and people do, start to raise their prices because you become more wanted. You know, and you're creating FOMO around your brand because people want to work with you more. So you can start putting your prices up because you're different from everybody else. You're showing that you're better than they are, you're more knowledgeable than they are, you're more accessible than they are. So yeah, definitely it is a form of currency for sure. And of course there's the currency of trust that you're building all the time because people are getting to know you more and more. So they're going to work with you much more readily.
We've obviously got the LinkedIn page that Bronze Group have, but it is an organisation page, right? It's not belonging to an individual. So how do we help promote that more if it's that single page to help get information out? Last week when I did it, I mentioned who was here and BCS, but if we're all looking at a particular page, how do you increase that? Because it's not based on a person, it's based on
In LinkedIn terms, we run group,
okay.
which is different to a page and different to a personal profile.
So it's a LinkedIn group or is it a
Yeah.
LinkedIn
But
page?
how do we
BCS won't allow us to have our own business pages,
Ah, right.
so we can only work through groups. It's a bone of contention.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. LinkedIn groups are, yeah, they're private. It's its own little space. So there's not an awful lot you can do with a group, I'm afraid. If you had a page, you could do lots, and I could help you. Yeah. Yes, hi.
I wonder, because you mentioned about trust and reputation, how would you assess or what are the factors on LinkedIn that would actually make the reputation being seen as valid? Is it trust or other factors, whether it's the profile that is certified or some other things? Because there are many sections in the personal profile and probably many other factors that can be taken into consideration, like number and actually so maybe time spent. But how would we actually know that this person is a person of high reputation? Like, what's your advice here?
So are you talking about creating your own brand or are you researching somebody else?
For me, reputation is a bit more than just the branding. So
Yes.
I wonder, how would you approach this topic of reputation on LinkedIn? Just
No, good point. So you're right. Branding isn't just about pretty colours and fonts and you know, what you look like. It's so much more than that. It's about your ethos. It's about what's in here. And also obviously in here. So if you find somebody on LinkedIn who looks great and they look wonderful and they're all out there, just dig deeper and find out more about them. And if it's about yourself, yes, you need to have this visual brand, if you like, and this initial focus to go out and talk to people on LinkedIn. But if there's no substance there, people will, it won't last.
if you don't mind me asking more, dig deeper to find what.
Okay. So it's your posts. This is your posts. So top three. Top two, actually. It's your profile. Put as much in there as you can, but use words, use language that really show what you know, really, and show the proof of what you do. So put some testimonials in there, because other people are your best ambassadors. Absolutely. So if I said to somebody, I'm looking for a good project manager, you know, I'm in the local WhatsApp group or whatever, I'm looking for a project manager. If somebody goes, yeah, I'm really good, I'm great, I'll check them out. But if a couple of other people say, no, you want to, you know, you want to use this person's great, you're much, much more likely to go with that person because they've been recommended by somebody else. So recommendations are really good, and using those recommendations in your profile and in your content as well, but definitely get them on LinkedIn initially and post helpful content that shows that you know your stuff. So creating some kind of a strategy. So talking of content strategy, if you think about maybe 3 different things that you do in your business, 3 areas that you focus on that are yours. So if you talk about each one of those 3, maybe you're going to post once a week. Just tell people what you know about that. So what would you say is your speciality, for example?
Project management and business analysis, but I also wonder about the recommendations that you said, or the references that are out there, if they can be the only source of truth. Maybe there is a friend writing something for me. So also, how can we be sure that they are genuine?
Well, your recommendations are always genuine on LinkedIn. They can't be otherwise, because you have to ask for them via somebody's profile, and it will sit on your profile as their recommendation, and they can't be forged, they can't be copy and pasted, so they're 100% genuine. But if you start sharing what you know about project management, and just think about different areas that you really want to focus on, or that you're specialist in, and just start telling people, did you know this? Did you know if you do that, that will happen? And it can be really basic, really simple stuff, and you'll be surprised how much you know that other people don't know.
Following from that, I mean, if she's like written a blog or written a book or an article, then you can do a URL to that.
Good question. So the lady was asking about putting a link to, I don't know, a white paper or a book or something in a post. LinkedIn doesn't really like external links because it takes you away from the platform. So yes, you can put external links in, but that post may not get the best reach. But it's good to do if you really want somebody to go and look at that blog or that whatever it is. Yeah, put the link in, but don't make a habit of it. The better thing to do would be to take a snippet of that longer blog and use that as a post.
What if you don't hyperlink the URL?
If you just
It's
mention
still
it.
technical. Yeah, and now it's technical. If LinkedIn doesn't like you clicking on something and you move away from them, if you don't make the hyperlink live, then people have to copy it and then paste it.
Yeah, that will work.
Okay,
That will work.
absolutely.
Yes,
Put in-
absolutely. Just have it as text.
Yeah, you put in those arrow, because.
Yes, that's a good project manager question. Thank you. I would never think to do that, but yes. Oh, you can tell people go to my website or whatever, rather than use the link. Yeah, but taking a snippet of a bigger piece is a really good way to repurpose content as well. So you can write longer. You can write a newsletter on LinkedIn, which is a good thing to do, and then you can take little snippets of your newsletter and use those as shorter posts.
I just graduated, and first of all, thank you, Sarah, and the organizers for this great event and insights. My question is, I'm working in marketing, so what's your advice on content type for B2B marketing on LinkedIn?
So I'm going to hit you back with a question because,
Yeah.
you know, like a true politician, what are the problems that you solve for your clients?
So we do HR systems and SAP related work. So those are the main services, and we do work on employee engagement and customer engagement chatbots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about those things. Talk about chatbots. Talk about the latest research in chatbots. Talk about what they can do. Talk about the problems that people have going onto a website. In fact, we were talking about chatbots earlier, weren't we? Talking about, how people don't like them. Are they spammy? Are they AI? Do we like a chatbot? All of those things are things probably, I'm sure they're things that your customers are thinking, I don't know, how do I set up a chatbot? What does a chatbot do? How can a chatbot help drive business to my company? All of those things are questions. And actually, so now that we have AI and people are increasingly using ChatGPT as search, people are searching in a very different way. People are searching online in a very different way. And in fact, now also people are using voice more than they're using type. So if I'm looking for a restaurant in, I don't know, where on EC2, if I'm typing it, I'll probably type restaurant EC2. But if I'm using voice, I'll say, Siri, can you find me a restaurant in EC2? So using conversational answer, question answer language, you're going to come up in those searches as well as the searches on LinkedIn.
And one more question, follow up on that. Do you believe on one-liner content, or do you believe on the storytelling approach on LinkedIn?
Good question. So the gentleman asked, do I believe in one-line posts or longer posts? Mix it up. I would say shorter posts generally. So if you go on for ages and ages, people don't have time anymore. We're all scrolling so quickly. But your audience are varied. Your audience have different lives, different experiences. They like different things. So try to cater for them all. So do some short posts, do some longer posts, do some polls, do some what we call slider posts, carousel posts. Mix it up. And you may see a trend. You may see, oh, my audience really love, these really long, in-depth technical posts. We'll do more of those. But I would definitely say mix it up.
Thank you.
Sure. And it makes it more interesting for you as well.
We have a short question and a long question online. I'll
Okay.
give you the short one to start. Is it worth paying for LinkedIn Premium?
Oh, that's a great question. Is it worth paying for LinkedIn Premium? If you're going to use it, yes. If you're not, no, in short. However, LinkedIn is being quite mean now with people who don't pay for LinkedIn. So for me, I would say LinkedIn Premium is brilliant if you're doing a lot of outreach, if you're sending a lot of connection requests out, if you're connecting to lots of new people. So then it's worth paying for. But you'll only know that you need to pay for it when LinkedIn keeps saying to you, you've had enough connection requests this month, you're not having any more. And if you're not at that point, then I wouldn't pay for it. But you can get it free for a month to trial, and you can smash it and just do loads of connection requests and then stop cancel the subscription. Or you can realise, actually, I need this. So I would say, think about it carefully, trial it for a month, and if you're using it and if it's helping you, then continue with it. So not a straight yes, no answer, I'm afraid.
Sorry, just before we go to the other one, just a follow-up question on that. Are you talking specifically as an individual page there? If, for instance, you had a business page as well, would your answer differ?
Yes, it would differ. I would not pay for LinkedIn Premium on the company page unless I was a really big company.
But even if, so you advocated publishing on, say, our personal page, but then sharing it again on the business page, would it be worth us paying for a premium account as our personal page in that instance? If we've got a business, which you may have guessed we do, to then try and push that forward, would LinkedIn Premium be beneficial to us on our personal pages?
No, not really. No, as I say, if you really want to push out and grow your networks and using lots of connection requests, then yes. But otherwise, the advantages are really small for the amount of money it costs.
Great, thank you.
And the longer one, I'm going to paraphrase. That's a problem I remember from my past. If your business, for example, as a consultancy, is targeting the UK public sector, they've got these huge procurement machines that are not allowed to talk to you because everything is done by it. How could you use LinkedIn somehow to improve your positioning with those clients?
So, hang on, I'm trying to get my head around the situation that they're in.
People who are doing the buying aren't allowed to talk to you apart from through the formal processes.
Okay, so they're not allowed to connect on LinkedIn with other people.
I think that would be naughty, yes.
Okay, yes, you're probably right. So I would, in that case, look at who else is in the organisation who we could send out on LinkedIn and use them as the advocates. And then they will start building the relationships, and then presumably they can pass them over to the relevant people further on down the line. But once the trust is established and the relationship's built.
And the one thing I'd add, Robert's question, somebody who's done that for most of my working career, you can cheat, and people on the other side cheat as well.
Well, I've never condoned that, of course. Thank you for your question, Robert. I hope my answers helped you. But yeah, find other people in the organisation who can go out and meet people on LinkedIn and bring them into the organisation and pass them over.
We are
Yeah.
just past our official finish time. If there's any last things we'd like to.
Is there another last
Yep.
question from somebody? But you can carry on questioning around the corner as well.
Yeah.
Individually, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that it then? Look, I wrote down 4 or 5 words here. Towards the end of your.
I'm scared now.
Some of it relates to me. Because when I filled in my LinkedIn profile, or however many years ago it was, I looked at my CV and just, cut and paste effectively onto it without thinking really about the engagement side of things. But I do think one of the keys that you mentioned is the trust thing. You've got to somehow, in those words, start building that trust. So I think that's a good thing for us to focus on when we're re-examining our profile, which I'm sure we'll all be doing after tonight. I'm very keen on ethos as well. So I think you have to show your ethos.
Oh, that's part of the story. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more important, and there's BCS is quite big on ethos. There's a group that's looking at that sort of thing, in particular with respect to AI and control of AI. What's this other thing I've written down here? Yeah, it's the engaging is clearly very important. And I can't read what I've.
I read.
No, you read that.
Carousel posts. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. The carousel posts are those ones that you slide through. And
Yeah.
you can create them in Canva, download them as a PDF, and then people can slide through them.
Was
Thanks
that-
for coming.
Was that was that available when I put mine up? Or was that a more recent thing? Yeah.
Around a few years, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, they're quite easy to make once you get into the swing, and people love them because they're interactive. As long as you don't put too much on each slide.
Okay.
We call
Yeah.
them slides. Yeah.
Right. Well, look, I've enjoyed it very much. You present really well, and thank you very much. You're given a prize for doing this, by the way. Yeah, you get free access to all of BCS's books.
Wow.
I think it's for a year,
Thank
and
you.
so you can, avidly read all that when you're not doing your profile.
Thank you very much.
So thanks very much indeed for coming this
Pleasure.
evening.